So this is my BookTube Newbie Tag video. I'm a little nervous about it. I don't know why, but I am. So let me go through some of the questions in the BookTube Newbie Tag questionnaire, at least the ones that I kind of liked. Uh, why did you start this channel? There are books that I like that I don't see always discussed very often on YouTube, so I wanted to have a place to talk about them. Also, it seemed like a fun way to spend some time and talk with people about books in addition to the two kind of small book clubs that I'm in with friends, and a place to kind of, and sometimes, elaborate more on my thoughts on the books that we're reading there, or talk about books that they're not really reading. I think a lot of those folks sometimes just read stuff that I'm not reading, and vice versa. What are some fun and unique things that I'll bring to YouTube? Well, I plan to talk about not just science fantasy, which is kind of my bread and butter most of the time, but also RPG books, role playing game books, tabletop role playing game books, I mean. A lot of them are settings and have interesting lore, interesting art, and I want to talk about those sometimes, in addition to the more typical fiction or even nonfiction books about things that are interesting to me, which we'll get to. But I think, yeah, I'm excited about kind of branching out a little bit that way. Um, what am I most excited about in doing BookTube? I think that I'm excited to be able to talk to people about these books, but also this, I believe, will be a hobby that doesn't rely on scheduling with other people the way that my role playing games often do. Scheduling is definitely the biggest dragon that we have to slay. And this I can do kind of on my own, but still talk about books and talk about games and talk about the things that interest me. When did I get started reading? Well, technically, I started reading at about 3. I could read. I didn't know what I was reading, but I could read newspaper paragraphs out loud this summer before I turned, a few months before I turned 4 years old. But I really started learning to really read when I was like 4, right? Um, and I guess I haven't stopped since then. What book got me started with reading? Well, because I grew up in a certain kind of family in Texas in the 80s, my dad started teaching me to read out of the Bible. But the book that that really got me interested, I don't remember the occasion was, but my parents wanted to know what kind of book that I wanted. And what I wanted was a copy of Gulliver's Travels. I had seen, I'm sure, some shortened summary of it. This was first grade, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I can still remember that hardcover, really nice edition. I have no idea what ever happened to that book. Maybe it's still at my parents' house. I should check. I don't know. Anyway, Gulliver's Travels was the book that got me started into really reading as a hobby, as something that I really love to do. Why do I love reading? 2 reasons. First, life is short. Reading is a way to live many other lives, in your mind's eye, right? And also to experience different points of view. I mean, I enjoy sometimes reading books by somebody with a similar background and outlook to mine. That's helpful sometimes to kind of think about why I think things a certain way. But as I've gotten older, I've really appreciated the importance of reading books of folks from other points of view. Whether that's due to gender or culture or language or anything else, then I really appreciate seeing the world through their eyes, as it were. Where do I read? It's 2021. I read at home. I mostly read in my office here, but sometimes in the living room or my bedroom, I guess. But at home, typically. Before the pandemic, I traveled a lot and I liked to read on planes. It was convenient. It's something to do. Pull out your iPad and read a Kindle book while you're flying between airports that look the same, or when you're sitting in an airport because they all look more or less the same. So that's not really happening now. I read at home. What kind of books do I read? Well, here are the books that I'll be talking about here. Certainly science fantasy, so books like Dune, um, Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe, who definitely doesn't get enough attention on BookTube, Dying Earth genre books, but also I want to go back to a lot of the type of books that I read more in college that I haven't read much since then. Latin American authors, magical realism. I think I might want to dabble a little bit in some new weird, but I kind of want to see how that goes. Some other things that I read, or a lot that I want to, I don't know how much of that will show up here. I like to read math books, both kind of general interest math books for general population, and also occasionally I read math textbooks. That's my kind of academic background, and sometimes now I still like to read them. Don't judge me. I don't know if I'll talk too much about math textbooks here. And also software development related stuff for my day job. I don't think that those will show up here a lot, but you never know. Something might really kind of cross over or be interesting. Anyways, that's my BookTube Newbie video. I'll see you on the next BookTube, not Newbie Tag video.